Welcome to Music, Arts, and Drama Camp in the Wilderness. It feels a little bit like we are in the wilderness this summer, and so we thought about going back to the Old Testament to hear one of the greatest stories, the story of the exile and return. We're going to listen to this story to see if God is telling us something now from a story that happened a long time ago. The scripture we will be focusing on is from the prophet Isaiah, and I hope you will write this on your heart this summer. Do not remember the former things or consider the things of old. I am about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a path in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Well, actually, we do need to start by remembering the former things. We need to remember that a long time ago, God led the people out of slavery in Egypt with the help of Aaron, Moses, and Miriam. And they did spend 40 years wandering in the desert until they came to the promised land. Now Joshua, who was Moses' successor, led the people in a covenant ceremony as they were crossing the Jordan River into their new land. And Joshua led the people as they said something like, "We will follow God's commandments and His ordinances." And God said, "I will be your God, and I will be with my people in this new land." So they crossed over the river and they came into the promised land, and the people divided into their tribes. You know some of those names: Dan, Asher, Naphtali, Reuben. And they divided the 12 tribes. And they went there and they settled in. But it wasn't always easy, and there were often outside threats. And when something would threaten one of the tribes, God would raise up a leader called a judge to unite the people against the enemy. You know some of these names: Deborah, Gideon, even Samson. And when the threat was taken care of, the people went back to their lands. You know, maybe they got tired of this, I don't know, but they did go to the last great judge of Israel, the prophet Samuel, and demand a king. Samuel talked to God, and God said, "They're probably going to regret this, but go ahead, give them a king. I will tell you who the next king will be, who the first king will be." And so Samuel, with God's help, anointed Saul as the first king of Israel. Now, Saul had many gifts as king and many good qualities, but he had some shortcomings too. And we are told that the Spirit of God left Saul, and he was killed in battle. Now, in the meantime, we all remember the story, I'm sure, of how Saul found David. And God told Saul to anoint David as king when he was quite young. But he did not become king until after Saul had died. David was a great king in many ways, and there are so many stories about him in the Bible. But he did love God, and he united all the tribes into one nation, and he took the city of Jerusalem for his own. Sometimes it's now called the city of David. And then they captured the ark from the Philistines and brought it into Jerusalem with much dancing and feasting and celebration. So everything seemed finally where it should be. And David died a very old man. And then his son Solomon became king. Now Solomon is known for his great building projects, his wealth, his many wives, his wisdom. These were the glory days. And you will hear a little more about that next week. But God came to Solomon and said, if you keep my ordinances, my commandments, my laws, I will dwell with my people, Israel, here in this land, and I will not forsake them. But despite the seemingly richness of the kingdom, everyone had their own vines and fig trees. There were cracks in the foundation. And next week we will hear more about that. So that is where we will start our story this month. I want to remind you that on our webpage there are links to music, and you can listen or sing if you wish. There are also the activities for each week. You can do them all, you can do one of them. It's whatever you want to do. And if you still need some supplies, we do have some here at the church. Just call us and tell us you're going to come. And I hope this summer that you will begin to hear God's voice for our time through this story.